morning to you. Thank you for joining me this morning. I am super excited. I am Coach Desi, and today is day 5 of the 5S Leadership Challenge. I'm excited about this today, and I'm looking forward to spending the next 30 minutes with you talking about our topic today, which is strategy. Strategy. So, what I was saying, as you guys are watching me just talk to myself and you couldn't hear me, I'm excited because after this, I'm going into my book study with my inner circle in the Creative Tech Concierge, and we are studying this book. We are studying this book. This is Brand Wash by Kevin L. Knox, and we're talking about how to turn attention into profit by controlling perception, influence, and buying behavior. That is what this book is about. And what I love so much thus far as I've been reading it is the fact that he also takes the concepts of who God created us to be and understanding, excuse me, understanding those principles so that each and every woman can know and understand that if we control perception, we can control the market. And this is really important when we are starting a business, running a business, rebuilding a business. If we're just starting out, there's a lot of people that I know that are coaches and or moving into that space, or they have transitioned from corporate into their own thing, and they're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I make this work? But they want to understand it for themselves. They want to make it work for themselves. And so I'm excited to study, learn, and yeah, this is what we do inside. One of the things that we do inside the Creative Tech Concierge. So today we are going to be talking about something very exciting, and let me go ahead and get us ready to go because we're going to get into this, and it's going to be, I think you're going to appreciate being able to see where you are when it comes to your strategy, right? Um, so let me go ahead and get us started. All right. So again, good morning. I'm so grateful for you taking your time to be here with me today. Um, like I've shared over the past several days, I am a leadership development coach. I'm a strategist, and I work with DISC, and I've spent over 2 decades in the energy industry, and I've been doing leadership development for the past 10 years. I've done all the things. I've run teams, I've run operations, I've handled $1 million budgets, but guess what? You don't care about none of that. You don't care about none of that. And but it is important, and here's why I tell you. Because with as far as success is concerned, each of us has had our levels of success. I've done the same thing. And the idea behind um, the women that I would meet as throughout my career and different things that I would see women that are very smart, capable, carrying a lot more than anyone else around her knew. And she couldn't put her finger, excuse me. Oh, so these women she couldn't put her finger around what was keeping her stuck, but she knew that something was off. She knew that something needed to shift. And that was me. That was me. the framework that I've been teaching you about every single day, this is where this framework comes from. We have covered a lot of information. On day one, we talked about spirit, who you are when no one's looking, right? When the title comes off. Day two, we talked about stewardship. Where is your best energy actually going? For day three, we talked about systems, building a structure so that you can stop being the bottleneck in your leadership, or if you are running a business or starting a business in your business. Yesterday, day four, we talked about support. And the question behind that was who was actually in your corner? And today we're going to be talking about strategy. Stop being busy. Excuse me. Stop being busy and start being directed. This is where everything that we've talked about these past several days, everything either goes somewhere or it stays exactly where it is. So let's jump into it. So 5 days ago, I asked you, who are you when no one's watching? Today, we asked the question, what that makes everything else matter. So who are you when no one's watching? But today is, where are you actually going? Now, when we talked about the first question, who are you when no one's watching? The first S, spirit. Um, that can be it can be a very uncomfortable conversation, because maybe you realize that the answer wasn't as clear as you thought it was, right? We talked about how each day just kind of peeled back another layer of how you're actually operating versus how you think you're operating. And so now we're here. And this question, where are you actually going, makes it all matter, because you can be aligned, you can manage your energy well, you can have, your systems in place, you can have a real support network. But if you don't have a clear direction, if you don't have a strategy, all of it is just being really well organized while you're standing still. Where are you going? That's the question. Okay, where are you actually going? So here are the 5 things that we're going to talk about when it comes to our direction. It is not a luxury. This is the job. This is the job that we're doing. Okay. Um, so let's talk about number 1. Busy versus directed. Activity is not the same as progress. I know you've all heard it. We could be moving, 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 and we could be on the treadmill and we're really not going anywhere. We're staying stationary. But after a while, all that moving starts to get tired, you start to sweat a little bit. Being busy versus being directed, those are not the same thing. And listen, I know you're busy. You've probably busy, you've probably been very, very busy for the past several years, but they're not the same, right? Um, we can fill every single hour of the day and not move towards anything meaningful. And we could be busy doing a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that, that we are um, getting to that end goal, right? The worst part about busyness is that it can feel really productive, and we can feel like we're accomplishing things. So we have that sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. But maybe we crossed some things off of our list, and we responded to all of the messages that we've received. We put out all the fires. But when we pull back a little bit, right, and we ask ourselves, okay, what did I actually build for this month? What did I actually build for this quarter or this year? Sometimes the answer is not much, not much. Um, the reason is because the urgent, it continued to win against the important. Remember that box that we learned about urgent versus important, and what were the other two categories? Those like the four quads, not urgent versus not important, and each one, right? The urgent, it continues to win when we're focused on that versus the important, the what's important, right? And it's not that it's a time management thing. It's not a problem with time management. It's a strategy problem. So number two, transformation versus transaction. In my circle, when I'm talking to my girls, we'll talk about this concept of transformation versus transaction. When we're being strategic, when we're leading ourselves well, this is where we're working on the business, not just in the business. See, if there are many of you that signed up to be coaches, or you made the decision to become a coach, or whatever it is that you've decided to do, because you love doing the thing, right? But if we're talking about strategy, um, strategy, the transformationist, as I like to call her, she is the one that is working on the business, on the vision, on the direction, on the high level goals. What's the plan for the month? What's the plan for the quarter? What's the plan for the year? What do I want this to look like when I am done? What will feel like I hit my target success when I'm done at the end of these 90 days? Right? So today is June June the 14th. We are 6 months and 14 days into 2026. We are 45 days into Q2. We only have 45 more days until second quarter of 2026 is done. And there are only 15, 16 more days until the month of June is done. What have you worked on versus what have you worked in? I know that you're busy, right? You have when we're thinking about transaction, right? This is the stuff that we're doing daily, the day-to-day stuff, the emails, the calls, the conversations, the decisions. All of it's necessary. All of it's very, very real. This consumes about 80 to 90% of your bandwidth. But that transformation, the other 10%, the thinking about the direction that you're going, where you're building and why and for whom, it gets squeezed into whatever time is left. Oh gosh, Desi, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I would venture to say with 98% conviction that the busyness is coming from being transactional inside of your business versus being the transformationist, the thinking, the strategist working on the business. Strategic people work on the business, not just in it. So if you've heard this before, you're probably like, okay, you know what? I know. But here is the honesty behind this. You have to protect your time on working on the business, transforming, being that strategic leader. You have to protect that 10%. The same way that you protect the time that you spend with your clients, the same way you protect your time, that you spend with your team, right? You have to block it. You have to defend it because no one else is going to protect your strategy time for you. Do you have thinking time? Do you spend time thinking about what it is that you want to see happen versus working inside of your business and what you're doing? All right. Number 3, the 12 to 18 month horizon. One of the questions I would hate when people ask me so often is, hey, okay, so what's your 5-year plan? Like, gosh, some days I'm just trying to figure out what am I going to do tomorrow and trying to remember what I'm doing today. So 5 years from now, no, I kid, but I we have this concept of thinking that if we can look at the entire plan and trying to think that far ahead. It it's a challenge for many, right? I know that it's been a challenge for me. And so 5-year plans, it's fiction for most people. What I want you to get is I want you to get clear on the next 12 to 18 months. What are you actually building towards? And not, I want to grow my business, not, I want more freedom. Those are feelings, not strategy. I'm asking, what specifically are you building? At the beginning of this year, I made the decision that I was going to put all of my energy into building the Creative Tech Concierge and really dialing in what that looks like. And the AI tool that I built, right? The software that I built. I made the decision to focus on those 2 areas. Now, why? Because I needed to know that I am very clear on who I am, what I'm bringing, who I'm serving, why I'm doing it, as opposed to bouncing from here, there, and everywhere. I needed to go even further. And I broke my 12-month year into 90-day increments. So every 90 days becomes a year for me. And I only focus on 1 or 2 things for those 90 days. We are in Q2. We are at day 44 of Q2. And for Q2, my focus is the book study that I'm doing with my inner circle and this challenge, putting myself back out there, getting back into the space where I'm teaching and doing some of the things that I enjoy. But this is going to lead down the path for my focus just for Q2. That was easier for me. Now maybe you want to spread it out a lot further, but each quarter I'd look at every single 90 days. And then by the end of those 90 days, because I had a focused intention for the business, that is what the focus has been. And so that is my particular strategy. But the questions that we ask ourselves is, what does it look like when it's working? What does the revenue look like? Who does it serve? What does my week look like inside of it? Right? Sunday mornings, Wednesday mornings for my own personal growth time. Who, what, why, when for 90 days. That's what I focus on. Maybe that'll help you and serve you. So we ask ourselves those questions. And if you can't answer those specific questions, right? What does it look like? What's the money? Who is it serving? What does the week look like? If you can't answer those questions, you don't have a strategy yet. You might have a wish on how you want things to happen. I did that a lot too. But wishes don't make money. and they don't create direction. All they do is they generate more and more and more busyness because without clarity, everything looks like it might be the right thing to do. Number 4, strategic stopping. Knowing what to stop, discontinue, is just as important as knowing what to pursue. This one here, this one is very underrated. This is the power of using your no, right? And knowing what to stop is just as important as knowing where to start. And maybe it may be more important at this particular stage that you're in. Because after you have been accumulating a lot of things, offers and services and commitments and, webinars, time, attention, money spent, you have invested in relationships. Maybe you started projects that made sense at one point, but now not so much. But you still have all of these things that are still on top of your plate that you've continued to pile on. And not only are they taking up space, they're taking up not just your time, they're taking up your bandwidth, your mental bandwidth, and they're taking up your decision-making energy. So strategic stopping means looking at what's on your plate and having the courage and the honesty to say, this no longer serves where I'm going, even if it's working, even if the people, they expect it from you, right? Even if it's things that you were known for, right? We got to do that inside work first, ladies, before we can do the external work. But then we have to do the strategic work and understanding what is and what's not a part of our strategy, excuse me. If it's in the way, it needs to go. All right, number 5, knowing what you're saying no to. So we can say no, but we got to know what we're saying no to. Every strategy is defined as much by what it excludes as what it includes. So if you find yourself saying yes to too many things because you haven't gotten clear on your direction, I could help you. Many of us are saying yes to too many things because we haven't gotten clear and we don't know where we're going. When you really know your strategy, when you really, really know it, saying no gets a whole lot easier. It's not going to be easy to say no. No one ever said that would be easy, but it does get easier because you're not looking at every opportunity on its own merit anymore, right? You're not looking at it from that perspective. You're looking at it from the direction that you have decided you're going in. And you're answering the question, is this going to move me to where I'm going? Or is it going to distract me from where I'm going? If the answer is no, even if it's a good opportunity, the answer is no. I'm going to say that one more time. If the answer is no, if you're asking yourself, is this moving me towards where I'm going? If the answer is no, even if it's a good opportunity, the answer is still no. That's the discipline. That's the discipline of the no. It's not the fun part. This is the part that is necessary. So what does this look like for the 3 women that we've been talking about all week? Maybe you'll find yourself in one of these. So the woman who's done asking permission, she's been executing someone else's strategy. What's hers? So if this is you, maybe you've left corporate or you're on your way out. As you were in that space, you were executing someone else's strategy. You're very, very good at it. You delivered. You probably you outdid yourself, right? But it wasn't your strategy. And now that you've got the freedom you didn't have before, now you have to sit within yourself and ask the question, what is my strategy? And that can be a very, very hard question because having spent so long being excellent at executing someone else's framework, you haven't had to define your own. So that's for you. If you're the woman that's rebuilding after the win, you know, maybe you're between strategies, right? That's not necessarily a problem, but that is a door. It is a door that you can choose to go through. So maybe you're in between where the old direction for whatever the win was doesn't fit the new direction, or maybe it's not fully formed yet. Being in between those two, the win and the not yet, that's not a problem. Again, it's a door. But there are many of this type of women who will treat it like a crisis, like, oh my gosh, I should already know what I'm doing, or I should already know what I'm going to do next. That space in between, I like to call it that messy middle. This is where it gets built. That's where the real next thing gets built. And if you rush that, if you don't have the time to think about what do I actually want, where am I actually going, you'll end up just repeating what you already did. Now, for some people, they might say, you know what, if it's broke, don't fix it. This worked for me, Desi. I don't need to fix it. But did you take the time to sit inside of the space in between? Did you take enough time to sit in there long enough to actually hear what's going to set your soul on fire? What's next? What's going to give you true meaning? All right. The last woman, the woman who's ready for cleaner ownership. Maybe this is you. Okay. Um, maybe you had a strategy and it was built for a version of, one level of your business, but now you've outgrown that. Maybe, you had a combination of offers and a price that you were charging at one point, or people that you were serving, but you've outgrown where, who it is that you're trying to serve from that particular stage of your business. Or maybe even the model of your business is changing, or it's a combination of all of that, but it doesn't actually match who you are anymore. I would venture to say that you don't need a brand new strategy. You need your current one to be reconfigured for where you are now and what you are actually capable of delivering. As we get older, life changes. I'm not the same woman that I was at 30 years old, thank God. A more refined, older, more mature, more wise version today. So which one are you? Napoleon Hill, this is a very, very simple statement, but there's something that is very, very real in here that I don't want us to skip by. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It's not about just about thinking big here. It's the part about belief. We can think of really big and grand ideas that are way beyond where we are today. But where we get stuck is whether we actually believe it is for us. Where you get stuck is whether you believe it's actually for you, if you could actually do it. Whether you believe you deserve the version of your business, your career, your your leadership, whether you believe that you deserve the version that actually matches where you are today or not, that gap is what keeps very smart women playing small. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I shared something very, very personal, very embarrassing about some of the thought processes that I have had to walk my way through so that I could be the woman that I am today. Yes, I am assertive. Yes, I am accomplished. Yes, to, going and improvements and all that, right? But who we are today, what it's taken for you to become the person that you are today, what you believe about yourself today is what is going to lead you into your tomorrow. Now, that might sound like a cliche, but what you think about, you will create. What you believe, you will have. Whatever the mind can conceive, whatever that is, if you're spending your time thinking about all the things that you have not, you will continue to have not. If it always works for everyone else, but it never works for me, is your thought, it will continue to always work for everyone else and not work for you, is what you will receive. Why? Because of that belief. And that belief gap is what keeps smart women playing at a level way below where they belong. So here's what I want you to do. For the next few minutes, you can take a picture of this, you can screenshot it, you can do whatever you want to do, but I want you to actually do this activity. And you can spend some time, next 15 minutes or so, because I'm not going 15 minutes long. But you can spend some time on your own to answer these three questions. Number one, your top three priorities for the next 12 months. If everything's a priority, nothing is. So just pick three. And I want you to pick three that you know would change the trajectory of your business or your leadership. So not saying, oh, I want to grow my money. That's not a priority. Saying I want to launch my coaching program by August and get 10 people to sign up. That's a priority. That's very specific. It's time bound. It's measurable. It's strategic. It is very clear. Number two, I want you to write down three things that you will not chase. You could have a bunch of good opportunities that are coming your way. Good ideas will pop into your head all the time, but not every good idea should be something that you're chasing, right? If it doesn't belong in your next 12 months, then it's a no on purpose, even if it's good. Write them down so that when you see them show up and pop up, you know when you're being disciplined or not. And then number 3, I want you to write down one decision you've been avoiding. Now, this is going to be the most important thing that you write down today, because we cannot clean out the closet if we don't open the door to see what's inside the closet. We know that we need to open that door. And if we keep avoiding that door, we don't open the door, we just continue to throw stuff in the closet and close the door. At some point, when we decide that we're going to open that door, all that stuff's going to fall back out and we're going to have a big mess. What's the one decision that you've been avoiding? Again, this is going to be the most important thing that you answer today. So, every time that we avoid, that's going to cost you. If we're avoiding a decision and sitting there unmade, that's taking up mental space. It's going to affect your confidence. It's going to hold up any other decisions that you need to make, because until that one moves, others won't. So you decide. James Allen wrote this over 100 years ago, and it is still one of the truest things about strategy that anyone has ever said. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. That's it. That's a strategy. The question is whether you're going to be intentional about it or if you're going to keep running on default. So here we are, 5 days, and you did something that a lot of people won't. You actually stopped and you actually looked at honestly where, how you're leading. Not the version that you put online. You looked at, your real one. We looked at your spirit, your stewardship, your systems, your support, and your strategy. And that, my friends, that deserves to have a plan. And so you have the ability to take this audit and score all 5 S's for yourself. Get your actual number where you're strong, understand where the gaps are and where your patterns show up. You've got the QR code on the screen. This will take you to actually do the audit. It'll take you, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so to do the audit. And then after that, if you want to go deeper, you can connect with me one-on-one. We can do your debrief where I'll walk you through your results. We're going to identify your top 2 levers and then build you a focused 60 to 90-day plan. So this will be a plan around where you actually are and what you're, where you said that you're going. And I would love to work with you. So you can scan the QR code and jump on that. I want to say one more thing. Some of you showed up to watch this video every day, well, except for day 1 because my tech wasn't working. But you showed up for the past 4 days of this week, and I just want you to know that I don't take that lightly. And you gave me your mornings. You're doing the work, and whatever you decide about the debrief or not, whatever you've learned this week, I want to say thank you. Please don't let this week, don't let this be the thing that you just did one time. Let it be the thing that you take a look at to decide, to change the way that you operate. This is something that you have got to practice every single day. And so, again, I don't take it lightly whatsoever. I want you to discover your potential. I want you to develop your strengths, and I want you to design your success your way. You matter. And I believe that excellence is by design. May everything that you do, everything that you are, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your strategy, all of it do it for the good of all, to the harm of none. But I also want you to remember that all, that includes you too. So I thank you. I appreciate you. And I will see you again real soon. Take care.